Hello, hello. My name is Bryan Hanley, and it's an honor to be here at the Work from Home conference. Today, I'm going to be talking about conversational AI, the rise of chatbots, and how small and medium-sized businesses can and are using chatbots and AI for their business. So, I am a head of sales strategy and artificial intelligence applications at a digital marketing company. And I started my career off in mortgage banking. I started off as a mortgage banker at JP Morgan Chase, Banco Santander, Federal Savings Bank, and others. And about 5 years ago, I started off as just a freelance WordPress developer. And you fast forward to today, and I run sales strategy and AI. So it's definitely been a fun ride. So what are chatbots? So I like to think of chatbots as any software that allows us, the human, to interact with the computer, and it will autonomously understand and be able to respond to what we're telling it. So, anytime we're able to speak to a computer, and it'll give us back information, whether that be uh, just basic information like the weather, whether it's running a function, whether it's actually performing an action. That's basically how chatbots, that's what I think of as a chatbot. And there are many different ways that they can work. So, of course, the most popular are like Alexa or OK Google or Cortana. But there are also just regular chatbots that, some small and medium-sized businesses like an ice cream store where you can order ice cream straight through the chatbot. So how does it work? So the chatbot is working in the way that the layer you see here on the side where you see the Facebook Messenger and the Slack icons, that's basically like you could think of it as the presentation layer. Us as users are going to present the chatbot with information, usually a query. And so it's the chatbot's job to understand what our intent is. So if we type in ice cream into a chatbot where you can order ice cream, it's not natural that the computer just automatically understands that you want ice cream. It could mean anything to the computer because the computer doesn't have that much context, which is what makes chatbots so incredible because they can detect what your intent is. So when we present that information to the natural language processing layer, it detects, all right, well, what is the user looking for? And then it will send it to the appropriate part of a database or a knowledge base, a data storage, or running a function, and then respond back to us, the human, with something intelligible. Your ice cream has been ordered, or this is the weather today. If you want to explore a little bit more about natural language processing and how it works and what it does, OpenAI released a NLP model called GPT-2 in November of last year, and it was actually a pretty big deal. The model was trained on over 1 billion different pieces of data in natural language. So what it's come up with at this point is it can generate language that sounds intelligible. So you can go to talktotransformer.com and play around with it, and it makes some things sound actually intelligent, and things are more ad-libby, but that's kind of the state of affairs with NLP right now, and it's just getting better and better. So if you get a chance, play around with that. In 2017, we were at the point with chatbots where you could order a pizza to your home for delivery directly through Facebook's Messenger, and it was staffed by Domino Pizza's chatbot. So we've gotten a lot further now. I think at this point you can just send it a pizza emoji, and it can get pizza delivered to your house. So what does all this mean for small and medium-sized businesses? Well, the first and most important thing is that because of the ubiquity of chatbots and the consumer interacting with NLP, they're already accustomed to it. They know how it works, and they're starting to expect it. When you speak with your telephone provider, whether it be AT&T or Sprint, or you speak with your bank, uh, you're interacting with the chatbot right away. And those big companies encompass pretty much every American consumer. So as a small and medium-sized business, this is a solution that you can incorporate that will kind of put you in the next stage of the game in terms of communications. And then there's also significant savings that you can derive by having these solutions deployed as well. So just some numbers for you. Half of consumers would rather connect with the company live via chat than by any other means of contact. So, I mean, we know that to be true. We only want to talk to people on the phone if it's absolutely necessary. If we can solve the problem by text or chat, we'd much rather do that. You know, a third of American adults would buy basic items through a chatbot. You know, I know for speaking for myself, and I know a lot of people like me, if I were doing a home project and I wanted to just buy a simple hammer, I'm happy to buy that through a chatbot, even more than going to a whole website and having to go through that whole piece. 90% of consumers are more likely to do business with companies that answer inquiries immediately. Now, how many times have you had a problem with an order? Let's say you're expecting a package that you've ordered and you can't get in touch with anybody at the company. What are your first thoughts? You're like, oh my God, my package is lost. My package has gone into the abyss. And just expand that to any other item you could have with the business. But if the business responds immediately, even if it's just by text, most consumers are happy with that. I know, for example, I order wine by delivery to my house, and when I order the wine, they send me a text immediately saying your wine order has been received. So I feel a lot better about that. And that's another example of a small business taking advantage of these tools to put their customer more at ease and be in touch with the customer. Now, 70% of millennials report positive chatbot experiences. I mean, I think that's a pretty huge and pretty important, and that was a study done by Forbes 2 years ago. So it's probably even better now. I mean, if you're a small, medium-sized enterprise and you're not engaging with your customer via some form of chatbot, it's definitely an opportunity that you can utilize to build that engagement. Now, in terms of interaction, according to Business Insider, 63% of people are willing to trust chatbots with sensitive information. I mean, you know, that is definitely a number that continues to go up, because I know that we even get chatbot messages via text from our healthcare providers. And just by the virtue of the fact that it's coming from the healthcare provider, we're more apt to trust it and interact with it. So let's talk about a few use cases that we're seeing for 2020. So the first one I want to talk about is this one is just fun. It doesn't really have so much of a business use, but this is a headache reliever. It's called donotpay.co.uk. So originally this AI was started to help people with their parking tickets. So if you had a parking ticket in the UK, you would use this and it would dispute the parking ticket for you. You'd give it all the pertinent information and it would dispute the parking ticket and try to get it off your record. And it was pretty successful. And then it's expanded to pretty much every consumer headache that you could think of within consumer headaches that can be automated. So I know right now one of the things that they're doing is if you had, for example, poor Wi-Fi service on a Lufthansa flight, you can have this AI write a complaint letter on your behalf, send it to Lufthansa, and then receive some form of compensation for that bad customer experience. So I definitely play around with that. This is really more just fun, but it gives you an idea of what these things can do. So Roof AI is an example of a chatbot that real estate businesses are using to spur engagement with potential home buyers. So what's happening is when the potential home buyer goes onto the real estate website, they're recorded, and the chatbot engages with them pretty much immediately and tries to glean their preferences in terms of homes. So this does two things. This allows them to capture the information, like they're capturing information with the cookie, but it allows them to engage with the user right at the point of entry, and then also provide them with recommendations in real time. And then the user can ask questions that can actually be answered, because what Roof does is it has all the information about the real estate listing, and it can just basically answer the questions related to that the customer may ask. So that's a really cool tool that real estate businesses are using right now. Then we have Intercom. I know some people here are probably familiar with Intercom, and what they do is they provide customer service chatbot solutions, which I find to be really cool. You can have this chatbot pretty much answer your most frequently asked questions, as well as help you solve your most frequently encountered problems. So, one play is, hey, what are the directions to your business? I mean, maybe that's a little bit dated, but it definitely still happens. Or how much does XYZ cost? How much does product number 7 cost? The chatbot can go ahead and answer that for you. But then it can also help resolve common things that happen with customers. Let's say that you are a company and you have a packaged good, and the customer is just wondering, hey, how do I connect part A to part B? The chatbot you can program the chatbot to answer that, because it's something that commonly happens. I really like this solution just because it also has an area where when the customer is typing in their query, just like when you're on Google and you start typing in a search query and it pre-fills it, Intercom's query machine will also do the same, which is amazing that the small to medium-sized businesses can have access to that. So this is actually my text-based chatbot that I built as a demo for today. So if you text hello to 718-808-8824, you'll have a conversation with my chatbot. If you're not in the US, you'll just put +1 in the front. So +1 718-808-8824. And if you send a text in to this chatbot, this is a use case that we used at my company that I had built, where you can have the customer text in to this phone number and have a conversation with the chatbot, or you can initiate a conversation with your customers. You can have the API kind of just send the text out to the customers and have that interaction. So, take a moment to play around with that as well. You can reach me at LinkedIn or Twitter to continue the conversation. But right now, I just want to take a moment to talk about, for small and medium-sized businesses, the types of chatbots that you can think about if you want to look into doing this. So just different ways to differentiate yourself with chatbots. One is an FAQ bot. So basically taking your frequently asked questions and programming it into a bot. It's just a little bit easier for your customer or your customers that would be apt to use a bot. Going back to Intercom, you can use a tool like that or Intercom itself to build a frequently asked questions bot, especially if you're a company that has a lot of content. You can basically put all that content into a chatbot, and your potential customer can contact you or I guess liaise with you through the bot. Another thing that is really good about chatbots too is that as they become more widespread and your customers start using them, you also get to record more in real time what their queries are. Because we know mostly what the queries are for our customers, and then we know what they might ask or how they might find us. But as you're kind of incorporating this potentially with like your keyword research for your content calendars and your SEO, the data that you get from chatbots can also be really helpful there. So now you can also think about making a sales chatbot. So if you have opted-in customers that you have their cell phone numbers, you can re-engage them through a sales chatbot. You can re-engage them through text, or if you're incorporating it with your email campaign, getting people back to your website, and then just have them direct them straight to your chatbot. But with the sales piece, I found that phone works best just because people will engage with a text message much faster than they would with an email or other forms of outreach. And you can program your entire kind of sales conversation with the whole decision tree and objections and all that stuff into a chatbot. So that is like a really cool thing that you can do. And then there's a reminder bot. I find this has been useful in the SME space a lot with like salons, doctor's offices, accountants, anywhere, any business that an appointment needs to be kept or had. I find this to have been really useful for folks. So if that's a business, if your business has appointments and you're trying to up your appointment to appointment kept ratio, this is a really great way to do it. And then in addition to just sending them a reminder for their appointment, you can also engage with them there. You can ask them, well, what were you thinking to achieve or hoping to achieve, and kind of saving some steps in the conversation for when it comes. And that's it for me. This is the QR code to my LinkedIn. And feel free to contact me on LinkedIn, or you can reach me on Twitter. My Twitter is iAfricanAmerica. That's at iAfricanAmerica. And thank you.